The video you're about to see is one of the most useful pieces of content on my entire channel. Watching this video will give you a lot of powerful insights about how to be more attractive to women, and more importantly, how to get success with women without having to become some godlike seducer character from the movies, with just being your own normal self. This video is a free preview from my upcoming mastermind group, The Inner Circle. Now, the course already has several hours of infield breakdowns available, but you cannot join it right now. It will only be available to join on December 20th, and I'm only letting 10 people join it. Once those spots are filled, you will not be able to join it because I want to make this a tight-knit community that you get to feel like you're a significant part of. Not some like Reddit seduction where there's hundreds of thousands of people and you're just like a blip on the radar. This is a group where you're going to be able to join weekly group calls with me and 5 to 10 other guys who are all serious about improving their dating life. And you're going to get personalized feedback from me, actual coaching from me, as opposed to being one of thousands of people watching a video. And if you're serious about getting results in anything, the best way to do that is to align yourself with other people who have the same goal, and you'll basically, like a magnet, pull each other towards success in that goal. With that said, this is not the most entertaining video on my channel, nor are any of my infield breakdowns. Or infield breakdowns are not the most entertaining type of content. They're the most useful type of content for people who really want to learn, for people who really want to get better. So if you want to see little inspirational clips that are, cool to watch and that give you some insights, yes, you'll find those on my YouTube channel. Those are fun to watch. They're easy to digest. But if you're serious about getting genuine, measurable results, about really changing, then the infield breakdowns like this are what you should be watching. And you're going to get hours of those if you join my inner circle. Don't just watch this to be entertained. Watch this to learn. Be in the mindset that you're about to learn a lot of useful information and be a sponge for that information. But don't watch this. If you just want to be entertained, don't bother. That's not what this is about. It's about changing who you are. It's about personal growth. If you're ready to learn a lot, you're going to love this video. You're going to get a lot out of it. Here it is. In this video, I'm going to break down some infields where I approach women, but they're not my best. These are not my smoothest approaches, and there's a few reasons I want to share these with you. One is a lot of coaches who post infield, they only post their best approaches, and it can create this sense that game is something there's no way you could possibly do. Like, you have to get to a very high level. It can feel like you have to get to a very high level before you can possibly get a girl. So you have to master it's this feeling like I got to get to his level, and then girls will react to me the way they react to him. This was the case like with RSD. They had a lot of very shocking infield that was impressive, and the game was good. But when I watch that stuff, it's inspiring on one level, but on the other level, I think, well, until I'm as charismatic as that guy, it's not going to happen for me. It can create unrealistic expectations and become a barrier to where you feel that you have to be perfect, which is not the case at all. Because those same guys who have the smooth approaches that look amazing, they also have some awkward ones. They also have some where they're not totally on point, where they're a little off, where they get rejected, where they don't think of something interesting to say and they stumble on their words. That happens to everyone some of the time. So I'm sharing these approaches with you because they're not great. These are not my best. I watched over them and I thought, man, that's not it's not great. I'm not super smooth. I'm not James Bond in these approaches, but they were good enough. And that's the primary message of this video. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough. And sometimes good enough isn't much. Sometimes, let's say you approach a girl who just happens to have broken up with her boyfriend a week ago, and she told herself, the next guy that approaches me, I'm going home with him. Well, then good enough isn't a lot. And for some girls, let's say a girl who is with a bunch of male friends and she's very challenging and she'll test you, then maybe good enough is very high. But as long as you show your intent, as long as you put yourself out there, you take your shots, some girls are going to like you. And I say this having had clients who are physically very unattractive, get really hot girls to be actually pull really hot girls in some cases, or in other cases, it was clear. There was one client I had not that long ago. A girl literally, a hot girl, by the way, literally said, "How big is your dick?" And he didn't end up pulling her because he didn't think she would want him to. He didn't try. He didn't genuinely try to bring her home with him. But obviously, it's pretty obvious that that's what she was hinting at. Um, so it's important to realize that the number one thing that's going to help you get better results isn't necessarily being smoother. It isn't necessarily even improving your game or your appearance or anything, but taking shots, but genuinely just going for the close, putting yourself out there, showing intent in some way, right? Showing that you're making the interaction man to woman. So if you're too platonic sometimes, instead of saying, um, some indirect opener, say, "I thought you were cute," or make sure at some point in the interaction to clarify that you're hitting on her, basically. And doing that will get you results. There's plenty of room to improve that over time, but that's the baseline. And that's why I'm going to break down these clips because they're not the best, but these girls still liked me. Some of that's luck, right? Some of that's just which approaching the right girl who's in the right mood. Some of that is just chemistry. Some girls like a guy who's a little bit awkward. Girls like a guy who's a little bit nervous. And if that's how you're coming across, once you approach one of those girls who prefers that, you're gonna get a date. So with that said, let's look at the clips. Let's break it down. By the way, I'm using a cheesy pickup line because I'm working on building a secondary channel that appeals to a larger audience so I can bring people who've never heard of pickup into pickup. Because the hardcore content on my main channel, it only appeals to people who are already kind of interested in the idea of pickup. So, I'm making videos that are like prank pickup videos for a different channel. That's why I use the line I use. And it's not the best line. However, using prank lines like these can be useful if you take yourself too seriously. If you're too unemotional in your approaches, you're too logical, using prank type of pickup lines like this can actually help you learn to have fun with pickup, learn to get an emotional reaction instead of a logical reaction, and help you break yourself out of your shell, break your old patterns, and change your identity as someone who can have fun with women. And a lot of times, I've gone on dates with girls who have done these types of approaches with in the past. It definitely can work. It's not the best approach possible, but cheesy pickup lines can work and they can help you have fun and not take yourself too seriously. So it's definitely something worth trying out. Do you believe in love at first sight?
Probably, yeah.
Or should I walk by again?
Walk her one more time.
Okay, so my initial thoughts are my body language is it doesn't look very masculine. It looks a little bit feminine to me. It's not like uh, there isn't that sense of holding the space, controlling the space. It's almost like I'm slinking to the side a little bit. I'm not standing very straight. So it's not terrible. It's not like my body language is the worst it's ever been, but it's not great. That's the first thing I would change is just square up with the girl and hold a more erect posture. And then the second thing is with my voice, it's higher pitched than usual. Part of that's because of the mask. It's hard to talk through the mask, but I'm not speaking with the breaking rapport. I'm speaking with a more neutral rapport at a higher pitch. And that takes away some of the sexual tension. And if you're wondering what is neutral rapport, seeking rapport, there's three types of rapport. Seeking rapport is when you talk like someone's above you, like you're talking to let's say you're like an 8-year-old talking to their dad, or a salesman who's being extra nice to win a customer over, or you're talking to your manager. And that sounds like your voice goes up at the end. So, "Oh, wow, how's it going? Oh, it's nice to meet you." That's seeking rapport. Neutral rapport is just robotic, monotone. It's not the worst, but it doesn't have a lot of power to it. So it's neutral. So that's what I was talking like there is basically neutral rapport. And breaking rapport is how I talk in my videos, how I normally talk, where your voice goes down a little bit at the end. And it basically it implies on an emotional level that you're a high status guy, that you're confident, and that you don't see the girl as above you. You're not intimidated by her. You don't think she's out of your league. You're comfortable talking to a girl who, say a hot girl that you're talking to. You're comfortable around her, and it's not a big deal to you.
I wanted to say something. Do you believe in love at first sight? Or should I walk by again?
Same criticisms on that one. My hands are in my pockets, which is not, it's not a big deal. Like if you see your hands are in your pockets, like sometimes that can be comfortable, but so don't make a rule like I should never put my hands in my pocket or I should never cross my arms. The most important thing is comfortable. Like how comfortable do you feel? And if you're the thing is, if you're feeling uncomfortable and you notice your hands in your pocket, that can make you feel more uncomfortable. So you don't want to focus that in a negative, self-judging way. But looking back at this, my body language is telling me I was somewhat uncomfortable because not only are my hands in my pocket, but I'm just a little bit hunched, a little bit tight, just a little bit tense. Not extremely tense, but a little bit. Part of that's because I'm being filmed. That's still like that affects me a little bit. Like me knowing that thousands of people might be watching this video, it adds pressure, right? So that's part of it. But the other part is just me not being at my best. I don't remember what was going on that night, but for whatever reason, I'm just not at my best, and I'm not putting enough effort into projecting masculine energy. Basically, I'm not focusing on that. And so this is kind of wavering energy that's not as strong as it could be. Now, you'll notice there's two girls, and I am talking to the girl that I'm more attracted to. Generally, if you see a group of girls, two girls, three girls, larger group, whatever it is, the best way to deal with that is just approach the girl you like. Sometimes you can address both. That can work too. But the other girl, the friend, is not going to be offended 95% of the time. She's not going to get immediately jealous or weird about it because that would make her look weird. Right? She doesn't want to look like her ego is so fragile that like that's all it takes to piss her off. And this is important because the most common mistake guys make is their approaches are too wishy-washy. It's just there's not enough intent behind it. It's not strong enough. It's like dipping your toes in the water instead of diving in. So just approaching the girl you like, saying something direct, saying something like, I thought you were cute, helps the approach have that strong intent, helps you basically punch through the wall, right? You're punching through the wall instead of punching at the wall, and it's much more likely to work out if you do that. You do want to address the friend. Don't completely ignore her. It's always good to ask, how do you guys know each other? To ask questions about the friend as well. Keep her involved to a degree, but I'd say spend 70% of your attention on the girl that you're attracted to, the girl you're trying to make something happen with, and only 30% or so with the other girl. Don't let her feel totally neglected, but don't focus all your attention on her either.
Sure, yeah.
You wanna get a drink at my place?
Well, I don't drink, but
You don't drink?
I'm not 21 either.
The reason I asked right away if you want to get a drink at my place is because I was actually doing two video concepts at once, which was too much. I was doing the cheesy pickup line as well as I wanted to do another video where I ask every girl I approach to go back to my place, try to pull every girl I approach. I'm going to do that video separately later. But the point of that was to show, look, you can invite a girl back to your place. Unlikely that's going to be offensive to her. It's unlikely that's going to end the interaction. Like your chances are gone. And the biggest thing that holds guys back is they meet a lot of girls that want to go home with them, but they never ask. They don't ask. They don't try to pull. They don't make that offer. And a lot of times that'll work out. Like a lot of times that's all it takes. Now I knew it was unlikely. She's with her friend and I just met her, but I want to show it's not a big deal. It's okay to go for the close in that way. And it's not even going to get girls to reject you most of the time. If anything, it increases your chances because it puts the idea out there. And, there's a part of it that's like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. But you're basically putting sex on the table, and that creates this underlying sexual tension, that it's on the table now. It creates this will they, won't they kind of feeling like, oh, this guy wants, and then, you want to make sure that you're not all push after that. You're not like, you just keep trying to close, you let it go. And then maybe you tease her, make her think you might not be interested in her. But by making her think about the possibility of having sex, as long as you don't get too pushy afterwards, that'll actually build sexual tension, and make it more likely that she's going to end up going home with you rather than less likely.
Dude, you smoke? You don't? You look like someone who enjoys smoking.
Why does everyone say that?
Who are you here with?
Just a coworker, a couple.
That was a basic example of free association. You look like someone who enjoys smoking. You can do this with pretty much anything, but that's the kind of comment that will generally make girls more intrigued, because what is everyone's number one topic that they're the most interested in? Themselves. That applies to you, that applies to me, it applies to pretty much everyone. And so saying a girl, she comes across a certain way, like she looks like she might be a librarian, she looks like she reads a lot of books, she looks like she's into anime, whatever it is, or does a certain career, that's going to be interesting to her, because she's going to wonder, first of all, what does that imply about me? Is that a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Like, you could say, you look like, you remind me of Amy Schumer, but like the hotter version. Well, Amy Schumer isn't known for being hot, so is that a compliment, or is that, it gets them interested, it gets them emotionally intrigued, and builds a sense of curiosity. So that's generally a good thing to do, is to make these free associations. And, you base it on whatever. If the girl reminds you of a certain actress, you make a comment about that. If she reminds you, she makes you think that she's a certain archetype, make comments about how she is that archetype. If a girl seems like a hipster, you might say, hey, want to go back to my place, pop on a record from my record player, and then watch some Marvel movies and make fun of how derivative they are. You could do that, right? You could play with this. This is a skill that you'll develop over time. It's something that the more you practice it, the better you'll get. But it's one of the best ways to instantly make a strong impression with the girl, to get her attention, get her emotionally engaged. And it leads to a lot of room for role plays. I remember there was one girl who I started basically implying she was secretly a serial killer. And I kept going with that. And it had this sexual innuendo where she's like, sees me as her prey, and she's the predator, so she's the one seducing me. And that made pulling very easy. That's an example of what you can do with this. So it's a very useful tool.
I live in Vegas. I live like 10 minutes away.
Yeah, I just moved here. Where are your coworkers?
Well, one of them is.
Again, my voice, it just does not sound as deep or masculine as it usually does. It's, where are your coworkers? It doesn't sound great, but that's okay. It was still good enough. And you don't have to be perfect. Look at someone like, I don't know, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's very charismatic, yet he has kind of a high-pitched, fast-talking voice. You might think, well, someone who talks like that can't be charismatic. He has so many other qualities that make him charismatic that it's okay to have a high-pitched voice. You can have flaws. You can have things that are not perfect about you. Perfectionism is going to get in your way. So even though I'm not like, I want to do better in the future than that approach, I want to learn from it and improve, it's okay. Like, it was still good enough, even though my voice wasn't sounding masculine as I wanted to.
It's got a hit and run kind of situation. Got a hit and run. What do you do?
I actually run the pool division for a home warranty company. I have 3 kids, and
Are you married?
I'm not single.
Okay, huge indicator of interest. I say, are you married? Because she said she had 3 kids. And look, asking like, are you single, or are you not? If you do it too early, before the conversation's hooked, before she's giving you some sense that she might be interested, well, it's likely to give her an excuse to reject you. So that's not ideal. But if you're getting the sense that she's interested, it's actually going to do the opposite. It's going to give her a reason to invest more, to say, no, I'm actually single. And that's fine. Like, and it's good to know, like, you want to know, because if a girl's flirting with you, she might have a boyfriend or a husband that she doesn't want to mention because she enjoys flirting with you, but prompting her to bring it up basically can save you from spending an hour, 2 hours hanging out with a girl who's not going to actually do anything with you. She just wants to flirt and have fun, get some, have a sexual experience, and then because she's not getting that attention or that energy from her partner anymore, but then ultimately not consummate. So it's important to be aware of that. And the fact that she said, "I'm single as fuck," very big indicator of interest. If a girl says something like that, talking about how she's really single, she didn't just say I'm single, she took it further. That was a huge sign that she's interested in me.
Oh, well, awkward timing.
Don't worry, just my sister.
She's your sister. Well, that's cool. What's up?
What's up, man?
Avery.
Nice to meet
What
you.
is it?
Avery.
Avery?
What's up?
Gary, add me on
What's
Instagram.
a girl name?
So because the guy came in, there's a chance that this interaction, like, it's not going to go very long. There's a chance that he's going to pull her away or take her somewhere. So I want to get the close now so that I still have her number and can see her again, as opposed to waiting. I want to be proactive about it, because if I wait, she might be gone, or the window might close, and then I missed it. So important little detail right
A
there.
white girl name or black guy name?
Oh, yeah.
You can decide which one I'm closer to.
My buddy.
Because you just seem happy and friendly, and weed smokers also have that vibe.
Okay, so I'm turning you seem like you smoke weed into a compliment. You seem happy, you seem friendly. It's just basically just offering value, being positive. Like, it's okay. Some guys think, oh, if you ever compliment a girl, she's not going to sleep with you. No. If you do it too much and you come across as needy, yes, but being comfortable with saying nice things about people, complimenting people, it actually implies that you're a positive person. It implies that you have good intentions for others and that you feel good. Your cup is overflowing. That's the kind of person that women want to be around. Someone who's comfortable enough to be able to give compliments. Someone who's high self-esteem enough to be able to see the positive in others. If you do it too much, then you start to come across as, oh, you're trying to get something. So there's a fine line there. But in general, complimenting girls is a good thing.
Well, I'm happy and friendly, but I don't.
You got that energy. But you're cute, though.
You're
Yeah,
cute.
nice eyes.
What's your name?
Avery.
Avery.
Yeah.
You can decide which one I'm closer to.
My buddy Lindsay is like the badassest dude ever because he had to overcome that.
Yeah, same here.
Lindsay, he's like the craziest fuck.
Lindsay for a girl?
Lindsay
Yeah.
for a guy.
Oh, I was like, wow.
It's a guy named Lindsay, and you have to be a badass when you're named Lindsay and you're a guy.
When another guy comes in, the main thing you don't want to do is be passive and wait. Because if you get passive, the other guy is likely to take over. And if you're being reactive and passive, then he's going to start thinking, well, I don't like being around this guy. And let's say he is into the girl. You're giving him license. You're giving him a good reason to basically pull her away because you're not offering value. So she's not going to care if he pulls her away. You want to be more in control of the situation. So you want to make sure that you're talking, you're still engaging, and you feel out what their relationship is. In this case, I already know they're not together, so there's no reason for me to be concerned, but I don't want to be overly passive and just like, because it's likely to fizzle out if I do that. So you can see here, I'm still kind of leading the conversation. I'm still, I haven't changed the dynamic. I'm not acting like, oh no, it's weird that a guy's here. I can't handle that. I'm still engaging both of them, continuing it just like with her there, but now someone else is there. It's not, I'm not changing the way I'm acting very much because the guy is around.
You're not asking what my name is.
Just like, I have to be a badass to be named Avery.
Avery, yeah.
I don't think Avery. I didn't think girl name was Avery.
Really? It's usually a white girl name.
Yeah.
You know.
I haven't even actually ever heard
I'm
of
not
her.
even a white girl, but
Her name is Bonquisha.
yeah.
That was the second choice my parents had for me.
Really? Oh my
Bonquisha.
God.
You have Instagram?
I do.
Here.
I'll be right back.
I'm just building I did Snapchat and I regret it.
I don't have Snapchat. I feel like it's an
I start-
introduction to cheating, so, I don't know.
I started with Snapchat, I got to 4,000 followers, and then everyone went to Instagram like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
What do you do?
Okay, so if you want to say something that's kind of bragging, the best way to do it is basically like that. I'm saying I have 4,000 followers, which is it's a more than average. It's a pretty good amount. It's not crazy. But if you want to, if you're going to bring up your follower count or the fact that you're wealthy or whatever, anything, something you've accomplished, if you just out of context say that, not going to go well. But this, we were already talking about Instagram, so it was fit the context of the conversation. And then secondly, I follow it up by self-deprecating as well. So I mentioned the fact that I have 4,000 followers, but then I say, yeah, and now I have to start from Instagram because everyone moved over to Instagram. So it doesn't come across like I'm bragging nearly as much or like I'm self-qualifying, trying to prove myself nearly as much. You can get away with saying a lot of things that sound arrogant if you fit them into the conversation. But if it feels like you're just itching to bring it up, by the way, I've got this Rolex, no big deal, then it's going to come across as try hard.
I'm a ghostwriter.
A ghostwriter?
Yeah.
Like novels or?
How long are you in Vegas for?
Just tonight.
Oh
I
man,
leave tomorrow, yeah.
that's so limited.
Yeah.
Are you close?
Am I what?
Do you live close?
I live in Arizona.
Phoenix?
Yeah.
Well, add me on Instagram, and then next time you
Okay.
come. I just moved here a week ago.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tempe.
If you're wondering why the setting's different, the lighting's different, I'm wearing different clothes, it's because something came up. I had to stop recording the video earlier and start again now. So let's just get back right into it and continue this breakdown.
High school.
Oh, so you've been friends for, well, apparently not that long. You're not 21, but you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
How's that experience?
I've been here, we came here like a month ago. It's really fun. I
Yeah?
just don't drink.
You just like a public space with a lot of people and
I
cool
like the
things to look at?
lights. Yeah.
The pretty lights?
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta, yeah, if you don't have night mode, you gotta do daylight photography.
Yeah.
Like if you want it to be good enough for Instagram, you gotta do
Yeah.
daylight. Or get that iPhone 12.
Yeah, I wish, but it's expensive.
Okay, so for a little bit of context there, when I first approached her, I saw she was taking pictures and they didn't look very good because it's dark out. And so as far as what am I doing there, showing expertise in something like photography that a girl is interested in is going to show a certain amount of status or attractiveness. It's interesting to her, as long as I don't come across too condescending in the way I give the advice, which, to be honest, I might be going a little bit towards that line where I sound kind of like I'm talking down to her lack of expertise, which isn't the best way to go about it. But showing that you know a lot about photography, showing that you know a lot about anything she's interested in, that you know more about it than her, is going to make you really intriguing. So that's always something that if it comes up in a conversation, she's talking about a topic that you know a lot about, bringing that up, giving her suggestions, talking about it is almost always a good idea.
Yeah, someday.
I'd rather travel with my money than,
Okay, so you buy experiences, not things.
yeah. I've been traveling
It's probably
a lot.
smart.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
We've been
All right.
going a lot of
Well, I don't want to get in. Good luck with the pictures.
Yeah,
You'll need it.
thanks.
But it was great to meet both of you. Have a great night.
I kind of missed an opportunity there when she says she buys, with her money, she spends it on traveling, on experiences rather than things. That's a topic that I could have gone into that would have been great for seduction, right? Talking about how these things that we buy ultimately don't really give us any happiness. It's the memories that we create, right? The things we do, the experiences we have. That could lead into something that's very seductive. Like if done tactfully, that could be a really good topic to go deeper on. And I kind of missed the opportunity. Honestly, I think the main reason I was just a little bit nervous being filmed. I'm worried like, oh, they're going to see the cameraman and it's going to be awkward, right? That kind of goes through my head still. I'm not 100% comfortable with being filmed. And so I ejected sooner than I normally would have, sooner than I should have. By the way, I paused it at a really good frame. Anyway, now you might be thinking, I should have pulled, right? I should have gone for the pull. Why not go for the pull? The fact is, she's with her friend, and I don't have a wingman with me. So if I have a wingman with me, this is a very ideal situation. 2 guys, 2 girls. We go get something to eat, we go drink, and then we go back to our place. That's a really good situation. But because it's just me and the 2 girls, I have to deal with that. And in terms of pulling, it's not easy. Even though this girl likes me, she's probably not going to ditch her friend to go hook up with me unless I either find a guy to talk to her friend, which can be done, or I win over her friend so much that she wants her friend to go home with me, which that is possible. I've done it before, but it's a low percentage chance. So think of it like poker, for example. If you have a bad hand that you're probably not going to win with, then doubling down on that hand doesn't make sense. So the more time I invest in this interaction, that time I could be spending meeting other people who there's a better chance that I could actually do something with. So in terms of just, is it the most optimal way to go about it? Probably not. Polling is probably not the best option here because it's a low chance, and it's more likely that I'll find some other girl who doesn't have that same situation where she can't do anything right now. Instead, I got her number so that we could hang out later rather than spending an hour or 2 hours knowing that it's not likely to lead to anything right then, and that it's not really a good situation for her friend. She's not going to want to hang out with this guy who's into her friend and kind of, making her feel like a third wheel. So yes, you could go for this situation. Like, you could go for the pull, but just be aware, if it's a low percentage chance that they'll actually be able to go with you, you're not doing it the most optimal, right? In terms of the most likely way to meet a girl, and if you're going for, if you want a one-night stand, the most likely way to do that is to find a girl who has a decent logistical situation, and then any girl who doesn't, just get their number to hang out later. And I know that type of thinking might sound overly hardcore, like overly results-oriented, but if you don't have that mindset and you spend hours talking to a girl who can't go home with you, it would have made more sense to just go on a date with her, because if she liked you enough to go on a date with you, then she'll meet you later and you have a better situation where her friend isn't being left out, where she doesn't have to be somewhere, and that's basically, it works better for everyone. And there's no reason to go for the pull when the situation makes it unlikely that it's going to happen.
Okay, it's rare to meet a local, so what is it? Loquishwa, right? Loquishwa?
Pretty close.
Hey, this.
I was attempting to be sarcastic there, but my tonality wasn't quite right, so it didn't hit. And, that's an example of a slightly missed opportunity, but it's not a big deal.
What is it?
Check your phone. Are you local? Are you visiting?
I just moved here about a month ago, yeah.
From where?
So I have a place in Arizona and a place in New Orleans.
Okay.
But I got an apartment here.
Where at?
It's like walking distance. No, walking distance.
That's another example of a good way to show that you're successful that doesn't sound too arrogant. She asked where I stay. Well, I'm just telling the truth. I have a house in New Orleans and I have a place in Las Vegas, which implies, I must not be too poor if I have multiple places that I can live in. But it fits the context. I'm not saying it to show off. It's true, so it makes sense to say that, as opposed to just like, oh, by the way, I've got multiple houses, and I'm kind of balling. That wouldn't work nearly as well. So it is okay to DHV as long as you're doing it in a way that fits the context.
The Win, we might be neighbors. We could hook each other up. No, I like your eyes, like your energy. I'll text you. Did you give me your name?
I did. Check your phone.
All right.
Is it an iPhone though? Is it
Good luck on Tinder. No, I got an iPhone, yeah.
Did you say Tinder?
Yeah, I saw Tinder. I said good luck on Tinder.
All right, I saw she had Tinder on her phone, and I'm basically teasing her about that, right? That's a little bit of an emotional spike because a lot of people don't want to admit they have Tinder. It's a little bit embarrassing, but they use it because, you want to be able to meet people. It's better than nothing. I could have probably taken it a little farther, making fun of how sad the dating pool is on there, right? How thirsty the guys are, how lame they are. I could have teased it. I could have taken it further, but that is a good example of an emotional spike.
I hope it works out. Personally, I feel like it's too low quality.
It is. You're right. I'm old. I'm a mom.
You don't look old. I feel like I'm older than you.
No way. You're a baby.
That's another big indicator of interest when a girl says things like, I'm old, I'm a mom, I'm sorry my voice sounds off. They're basically apologizing for something about themselves not being as good as it could be. That's what they're communicating, is basically sounding insecure. that's a sign they're really interested. That's something that when a girl says that, that's a very good sign. I mean, it could also be a sign that her self-esteem isn't very high, which you might take as a reason not to go on a date with her. But in terms of interest, when a girl is describing herself in that way, that's a big sign that she's into you.
I'm older than I look. How old are you?
I just turned
29. I'm older than
Really?
you.
You look 24.
All right,
Thank
wrap
you.
it up. I'm not trying to
Right, so she said she was old even though she's not even 30. If she said she was old and she was in her 40s or something, that would mean something very different. But the fact that she's calling herself old even though she's in her 20s is a sign that she's very attracted to you.
I'm wrapping it
She'll
up.
hit you up.
That was perfect timing.
Perfect.
Have a good night, you guys.
In that situation, going for the pole didn't really make sense. It was very unlikely that it could have happened. So that's just got her number to hang out at a later time. Again, these approaches were not my smoothest approaches. I was not really in the zone. I was not at my most confident. I was not at my smoothest. I think I probably hadn't gone out for a few days before that. And so I was a little choppy. My energy wasn't as charismatic as it normally is, but it was still good enough. It's important to be aware that when you approach a girl, she's not really thinking, are you my ideal man ever? Are you a perfect 10? Or are you a little warm? Are you a 0 out of 10? No. She's, are you above my threshold for attractive? And for every girl, that's different. Every girl is a different type. They like different things. They dislike different things. Some girls prefer someone who's muscular. Some girls prefer someone who's skinny, like the MGK or G-Eazy body type, right? Some girls prefer the skater boy look, even though they're skinny and they're not very strong. Some girls prefer someone who's a bit overweight, the dad bod. Every girl has different preferences, and she's not thinking, are you perfect? She's thinking, are you good enough? So in many cases, good enough is going to be not that great. In many cases, good enough just means that you showed some intent, you took the lead, right? You asked her out, like you actually went for her number, or you invited her to do something with you. And you didn't do something super weird, right? You didn't do something really awkward. A lot of the time, that's all it takes. And I know this not just from personal experience, but from a lot of experience with different clients who often aren't that good looking by society standards. I knew one guy who was literally the bottom 1 out of 1,000 in terms of looks. One of my friends described him, he's the ugliest guy out of 1,000 guys. And this guy also had very little charisma. His personality was very needy and pushy and annoying. Yet, he went out all the time, he approached a lot of girls, and he went for the clothes, and he was sleeping with girls who were way more attractive than him, girls who were way more attractive than a lot of the guys watching this video have dated. And what that shows is that, yes, he could have improved his results if he worked on his personality and if he worked on his appearance as well. Those things would help. But you don't have to be perfect. Sometimes just taking action, putting yourself out there, putting yourself in a vulnerable position where you are able to be rejected by a girl, that's all it takes. And I really want to hammer that message in. That's why I make this video, even though it's kind of embarrassing for me, because my ego wants to show myself at my best. It wants to show my approaches where, it's like James Bond, the ones that are really smooth. But I know in terms of helping people, videos like this are in many ways actually more helpful than the smoothest ones because it's relatable. It shows that you don't have to be perfect. It shows that it's okay to make mistakes. And accepting that will help you get out of your own way and start taking action instead of needing to watch a million hours of videos so that you have all the perfect knowledge and you know everything about pickup before you start taking action. You don't have to be perfect. I really want to hammer that message in. And if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more infield breakdowns like this, on December 20th, I'm going to be letting 10 people join my mastermind group, which is a monthly subscription that includes a lot of infield breakdowns like this video, as well as a weekly group Zoom call where we hold each other accountable, we set goals for the weeks, I help you overcome your sticking points, if that's approach anxiety, if it's being charismatic, if it's showing intent, if it's being consistent, if it's, you can get a girl's number but they keep flaking on you. I help you personally. It's coaching where I help you personally with those issues, and the whole group helps each other on live calls so that you feel like you're a part of a community instead of you're going about this completely alone. You feel like you're a part of something larger than yourself, which is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to success in any area of life, is having a tribe, having a group that is all heading in the same direction, that all has the same goals, and they're all taking action. And it also has a Facebook group where you get to post your field reports, you get feedback, you get motivation, and you get access to exclusive videos that I don't put on YouTube. Generally, the videos I put on the Inner Circle are the kinds of videos that are too politically incorrect to put them on YouTube. So things like polls. Not going to put that on YouTube, but I'll put that on the Inner Circle. That's one example. And by the way, those 10 spots that are opening up on December 20th, they're completely affordable. It's $47 a month. It's not $200, $500, $1,000 or something crazy like that. It's $47 a month to get coaching with me every single week. Whereas normally, if you get a one-on-one coaching call with me, it's $100 just for an hour. And in addition to that, you're getting hours of infield breakdowns like this, a complete online course, which is a complete guide to pick up. You'll be getting an incredible amount of value. Just make sure that once I release the video on December 20th, that you sign up right away, because those 10 spots, they might be gone in an hour. They might be gone in less than an hour. It might take a whole day, but they're not going to be there for very long. When I did my group boot camp for New Year's, the spots were gone within a day, and these will be gone probably much quicker than that. So if you're interested, make sure to watch out for that video when I release the launch video. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. This is the kind of video a lot of guys, they wouldn't be willing to put out because it doesn't put them in the best possible light. But I think it's really important for you, in terms of learning, in terms of growing, to see content like this instead of just seeing the best of the best of the best, to see my worst approaches. Because pickup is it's like a sport. It's not like, say, playing a musical instrument where you're doing the same thing every time, and if you practice it enough, it's going to go perfect every time. It's more like playing basketball. Even the best basketball players miss half their shots. Other people are involved. There's a lot of factors that you can't control. There's a lot of randomness, a lot of chaos. Your mood is going to affect it. And because of that, no matter who you are, you're going to have bad approaches. You're going to have approaches that are awkward. You're going to run into weird situations. You're going to be off sometimes. And that's perfectly normal. That's okay. Yeah, you're going to have the highlights as well where you feel like, holy shit, that felt like a scene from a movie. Those are cool. But it's important to be aware. A lot of it is just going to be, a little bit choppy, a little bit awkward, but maybe after you're talking to the girl for 10 or 15 minutes, it gets smoother, you get more in the zone, and then you start really having fun with it. That's okay. It's normal to have awkward interactions. It's more like a sport where even the best in the world fail half the time, right? By the technical definition of not getting the girl's number or not making the shot in basketball, 50% of the time, that's going to happen, and that's perfectly okay. That's normal. You need to be prepared for that. You need to embrace that, because if you resist that, your ego is going to prevent you from taking action in the first place. You're not going to go out. You're not going to approach women. You're not going to ask that girl you have a crush on a date. You need to fully embrace that rejection is a part of the process.